Hello everybody, I'm Sean with Laminators, and I wanted to take a few minutes today to talk to you about our new Thermolite product offerings. We've received a lot of really positive feedback from the industry, from the glazing industry, in regard to these new products. And there seems to be some questions and maybe a lack of complete understanding of how these products are used. And I wanted to just take a few minutes to kind of walk everybody through features and benefits, how the products are used, where they're used, and kind of give you an idea of what the aesthetic is once the panels are installed. So kind of starting off, most people are familiar with our Thermolite product. This is our flagship glazing product. It's the one that's been around for over 20 years, quite honestly. And it's typically used in curtain wall applications, storefront systems, and window systems. As you can see, it's comprised of two aluminum skins with polypropylene stabilizers and then an insulating foam core. The foam core can be either EPS or isocyanurate foam, depending on the needs of the project. And this panel construction actually creates a water insensitive glazing infill panel. So that's why it works really well in curtain wall systems. A lot of curtain wall systems have water draining through them. And when you use this panel, this type of panel in a curtain wall system, you don't have to worry about water getting to the panel and damaging the panel over time. Now again, this is the flagship product. This is the one that's been around for a long time. It's available in 3/4 inch thickness up to 3.5 inch overall thickness. When we change the thickness of the panel, all we change is the thickness of the foam core. So the thicker the panel, in most cases, the higher the R value. The R value for this product ranges from 2.2 up to 17.4. So obviously the 17.4 would be for a 3.5 inch thick panel. That would actually be utilizing the isocyanurate foam or the urethane foam. That gets you the higher R value because the urethane foams do typically have a higher R value. So again, this is the backbone of the systems that we're going to be talking about and the products that we're going to be talking about today. Just to give you an idea of the aesthetic, this is what a standard Thermolite product looks like when it's installed in a standard curtain wall system. Just to make it clear, Laminators does not offer the curtain wall system. The curtain wall system, the window system, the storefront system is always going to be by others in the case of using a Thermolite panel. That's not something that we offer, but these panels go into any typical glazing system that accepts an opaque glazing panel. So this is what the exterior would look like. You can see you get in most cases you want to, a designer is trying to achieve a color matched finish. In this case everything is clear anodized. You can see you get a good match. So again, this is the exterior, and if I turn this around for you, you can see this is what would be visible on the inside in some cases. In many applications, the inside of this is going to be finished with another product, in some cases drywall, where the inside of the panel would not be visible. You can use a lower grade finish on the inside depending on the needs of the project. So that's your standard Thermolite product, and that is actually the product that all of the other products that we're going to talk about this morning are kind of built upon. So that's going to move us to the Thermolite WE product. And WE actually stands for, just to make it clear for everybody, it stands for wrapped edge. And what we mean by that is if you look at this panel sample here, you can see when you compare it to a standard Thermolite panel, the aluminum from the face of the panel actually wraps over the panel edge, creating an opportunity for metal to metal butt glaze joints. So you can imagine two of these panels side by side, as you see in this curtain wall mock-up here. It allows you to, if you have an application where the opening in the curtain wall system exceeds the maximum panel size that we can make for you, it allows you to put multiple panels side by side. You would create a structural butt glaze joint right here with a silicone, structural silicone. On the outside, you end up with a hairline joint. From a distance, it's not typically very visible. Most designers will not object to a joint like that. On the inside, we left this open purposely so you can see what it looks like on the inside of the system. In many cases, depending on the size of the opening and the structural requirements of the project, you may end up, it's very likely, honestly, that you would end up needing structural support on the interior behind this joint just to support that joint. Again, we can work through that with you. If you have questions about the requirements of your project or you have specific wind loads, reach out to us and let us know. This is a standard Thermolite panel. It's the backbone Thermolite panel with the wrapped edges. This particular panel, the WE panel, is available in thicknesses from 3/4 of an inch up to 2.5 inches thick. We don't quite go to 3.5 inches thick with this panel, only because we found we were not able to provide very crisp, clean corners on the bends, on the exterior bends, and we ended up with this joint didn't look quite as clean. So 3/4 of an inch up to 2.5 inches in thickness. And in this panel, the R value at the top end is reduced a little bit, but you can still get 2.2 R up to 12. So that kind of covers the first two panels we're going to talk about today. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the Thermolite SE product, and in this case, SE stands for stepped edge. As you can see in this panel sample here, the stepped edge, as we're referring to, is here you have a 1-inch glazing panel edge that goes in the pocket. And then what we did is we took this Thermolite backbone and we added a piece of fabricated Omega-Lite to the face to create this hi-hat or stepped edge. As you'll see in this mock-up here, and this, again, the same curtain wall system, you can see it creates a monolithic appearance where this face is brought out flush with the face of the mullions. The interior aesthetic does not change at all. That's quite the same. The only thing that changes with the SE panel is that it brings, and there's some adjustability. This thickness here can be just about anything you want it to be within limitations. We can make this panel a total panel thickness from 1 3/4 inches in thickness to 3.5 inches in total thickness. Besides those limitations, you really don't have much else. It would limit you as far as the designer can choose what they want the reveal to be between the face of the panel and the face of the mullion. A lot of these systems have different mullion thicknesses. They can have it sit flush, as we show here. They can have it step back a little bit. But really the options are limitless. In this particular example, this panel can have the stepped edge on 2, 3, or 4 of the edges of the panel. Again, giving the designer a lot of options as far as the aesthetic that they achieve. Most often you're going to see an installation like we show here where the face of the panel is flush with the face of the mullions. A lot of designers like that flat overall thickness. Depending on the foam that's used and the overall thickness of the panel that is selected or required for the job, the R values for SE are going to range from 6 to 15.7. You do achieve a little bit of R value with the airspace that lives behind this fabricated piece of Omega-Lite. Not a lot, but it does contribute to the overall R value. Now we're going to switch over to the Thermolite UMAX. This is an altogether different product from anything that we've manufactured before. As you can see, once again, this one starts with the standard Thermolite backbone right here. This is the piece that's going to glaze into the pocket. And then we added 2 additional layers, so it's a 7-ply or 7-layer overall panel. These additional 2 layers that we added live on the inside of the curtain wall system or the framing system, again by others. The whole purpose is to add additional R value to the overall panel assembly or to the curtain wall system. In this case, we can make this panel in total thickness up to 3.5 inches in thickness. And again, depending on the insulating foam that is selected and the overall thickness that's required, you can achieve R values that are from 5.2 up to 16.9. That's when we're comparing it to a 1-inch overall Thermolite panel. That's an increase of 100 to 200% overall. So again, as you can see, the aesthetic you see here on the outside of this panel system is very similar to what you saw with the first Thermolite that we showed you. On the inside, you'll see is a little bit different. The depth that lives here is a little bit shallower because this is where you added the extra insulation. Again, in many cases, the inside of this system is going to be finished with drywall or some other product, and you would not see what's going on back there. But even when you do, it's still an acceptable aesthetic. Again, 7-ply overall panel available in up to 3.5 inches and 5.2 to 16.9 R value with the UMAX. Again, any questions, please feel free. Reach out to your Laminators contact, whether it be your regional manager or inside sales representative, and we'd be happy to get you as much information as we possibly can to help you on your next project. Thank you.